your audience can, what is that contraption he put on there? What is that, a cricket? So we can kind of have that little conversation.
Right. All right, man. Well, good. I'm down. I'm in your hands. Let's do it.
All right. Are you live?
We're live, man. Let's do this.
Live, locked and loaded.
Yeah.
All right. So once again, every morning that we get together, what I always like to do is check, how did it go last time? Did you have any problems, any issues, any questions, any concerns, that something you got stuck on?
No, actually, I felt pretty good. What I did was telling you which chord I'm playing. Like, which one was that?
So that's going to be your D.
Okay, so what I worked on the most was trying to go from D to G. And getting that middle finger back down there, like I was having trouble with.
Sure.
Get my fingers, where there's no reverb. So anyway,
that sounds great.
I was having trouble there for a while making that change, but I think it was a week of improvement.
That sounds great, because I'm hearing all the notes. A lot of times when someone starts learning a chord, the first thing I always suggest is go straight through every single note to make sure that you're hearing them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because a lot of times when you play, for example, this D, your middle finger, your ring finger will be laying down just a little bit, and it'll kind of mute, and you'll get that. So when you play a chord, it's important to go through each one individually slowly, so you make sure it's kind of like calling each one out of the choir. Okay, altos, basses, tenors, and you can hear the notes. And then when you strum it, that's when you know they're all sounding full. So yours sound all nice and full. So fantastic, great job.
Cool.
She shoots, he scores. And you even had a fancy strum pattern there. You're kind of just developing there.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to, I've got my one little deal that I do every time I hold the guitar. So I'm trying to learn how to do the pick like he told me to get where I'm not banging on it and it's not hearing a lot of click, to try and make that, and the pick doesn't fall out of my hand. So I was trying to work on that. I think that it was a pretty decent week since I saw you last.
Yeah. So what I'd like to do, since you played basically a D chord to a G chord. So the song I think we gave last time was Best Day of My Life. And that's a nice one because there's not a lot of changing of chords. There's not a bunch of chords. And so that's a great song to get started with. I thought we'd build off of that and teach you. So we'll use a new song with, I believe it only has 3 chords in it. So what I'm going to have you do is I shipped you out a little device, this weird looking little torture device. And this little device here, I'm going to try to get that there. It looks weird. That's called a capo. And this thing, you might see if you go to your local church, or you go to a concert, or you go to a blues bar or something like that, they'll see that clamped somewhere on the neck. And all this thing does is it's basically an additional finger. So you can play difficult chords easily. So the song that we're going to play today is going to be using it on the. I won't tell you the song yet. We're going to go through the chords, and then it's kind of like a surprise to see if you can guess the song. Awesome. So we're going to take this device, and we're going to put it on the 3rd fret. Okay. And so you'll count up 1, 2, 3, and the part you're going to use. A lot of people mix this up because there's padding on both sides. The part you're going to use is this long black rubber spot's going to go in front of the strings. This little rubber spot on the back is just to protect the finish. So we'll put that on the third fret. And what I suggest is when you do this, I'm going to show you how not to do it and then show you how to do it. So if I get a little bit closer to the camera here, what a lot of people will do is they'll just clamp it, and you can see a little bit of space here. And I would suggest away from that. I'd try to get it as close to the fret as you can, only for the reason being, if you put it back here, it might be like the desert illusion of an additional fret that you're going to play.
Okay.
And so if you go to play a D, for example, you might play it right here.
Okay.
It doesn't sound right because you need that extra space there. So get that as close as you can, so that reduces your chance of making that visual error.
Got it.
All right. So we're going to learn. We have the first chord we have is going to be the D chord. Now, once you've put this guy on, you don't play back here where the D used to be, because that doesn't anything behind this capo, or you called it a cricket.
Yeah. Which, by the way, whenever I did an unboxing of this stuff in here, I'm going to take off our little scroller and stuff so that everybody can see your. Everybody enjoy playing guitar.com. Enjoy playing guitar.com. I'll remind you often.
We're just having fun, man.
Well, I want people to know, and we know who you are. You're Tim. There. Now we can see your hands, which are
well. This looks like some terrible. Look at this. You've got this sign up here. You've got this thing on my shirt. You've got this thing here in the corner. It's like, if you can't figure it out, man.
Esteban's got nothing on us, man. I'm just. You didn't even realize it, folks. Tim had nothing to do with this. I just decided to create him a little infomercial here. It's the least I can do. The guys teach me how to play the guitar. So enjoy playing guitar.com. Hey,
that's right. If you order now, so we're going to use that D, and when you take and put one of these on, essentially what you're doing is you're just shortening. You're shortening up. It's as if we had it here. Mm-hmm. So if I play a D like this, and then I move this forward one, I have to move my chord forward one. So I'm going to move it up to the 3rd fret, and you'll make your D the same way. You'll have that space in that first box or first fret.
Yep.
And we're going to make our D. So play that D.
Ooh, that didn't sound good.
Now that sounded like you had it one box too far. You had it back one fret.
Let me see.
So I think
1, 2. I've got 1.
So for us, our first finger is going to be on, with this box, it's going to be on the 2nd fret. And then our middle finger is also going to be that same.
What am I doing wrong, Tim?
Show me your hand. Okay, there you go. If you raise your neck up a little bit, I could see it in the camera. So when you're making something, I can see. Oh, he's got his hands down here. He's in the wrong spot. Yeah. Or if you're sitting there, you're like, what am I doing? Hang on, buddy. We got to flip that the other way around.
Got it. All right, so let's see how much.
So why don't you make that D, and I'll just take a look at your D chord.
The D is the one down here, right? The lower one?
Yes, that's correct, yes.
And the middle finger's down here.
Yep. So now show me your neck, because you're close. Okay, so you're right there, but take a look at you have to take this guy here and slide him up one box.
Oh, here?
There you go.
Okay.
Now listen to that.
Better? Okay.
And the heavens part.
All right.
Okay, that's our first chord.
Got it.
And each one of these is going to the song is just going to use the chord, and there's going to be just one strum of each. So we're going to do this as our first chord. That's called a D. Now all we're going to do is this little pinky here, we're going to put it on the string, and it's going to be on string 1. It's going to be directly underneath our ring finger.
Okay.
Which is like this. Yeah, so it's a little higher pitched.
Okay.
So that's our second chord. That's called D sus. D sus4. It's our next chord, right? So this is just another color of a chord. So I have a D chord, and then I have a D sus.
I think I know what this is going to be. I think I figured out the song.
He's good, man.
I hope.
So then our third chord is remove the pinky, and we're back to D. Okay. So lift your pinky up. Now we're back there. We're going to take our first 2 fingers, and we're going to put them on. So you're going to move them up a set of strings. Okay. So your first finger is going to be on string 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
There it is. That's your third chord. So it looks kind of like that. Okay, so we have 3 chords, 5 strums. And so where this is going to go is then once you've gotten this here, you go back to your D. So the whole time your ring finger is never going to leave the neck. Okay. So we're going to play the D, D sus. We'll play the D sus again. We'll lift the pinky up. And then we'll take those 2, and this is our last chord. It's called an A sus, or suspended. Okay. There it is.
Okay, so
he knows what it is.
Am I close?
You're almost there. Yeah, you're closer than you think.
I know where we're going. That's awesome. Uh-oh.
So here's what you're doing. Here's what I'm seeing is I'm seeing your middle finger coming out and kind of just taking its own course. So what I want you to do is when you're at that D chord, those first two fingers have to stay in box 2, right? So I'm going to remove my ring finger so you can visually see this a little bit better, but they're going to be on the middle 2 strings.
Yep.
Okay? Let me watch you.
Well, so middle finger here, he's on string 1 or string 2?
That one, middle finger would be on string 3 if we're counting from our toes to our nose, right? So string 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
Maybe this note here. So string 1, 2, 3. So that's going to be your middle finger.
Okay.
And then your first. That sounds right. Yes. So we've got a couple different ways we can do this, whatever works best for you. So the key is the switch from the D to the A. Now, what I tend to do is I tend to move both of my fingers up into this A position. I leave my ring finger there. But some people go, well, I don't want to move as many fingers. And so the other option you can do is what you are doing is if you're playing your D and you take your middle finger and you clamp it on top of your first finger. So it's 2 different ways of fingering that. Okay, that one you went too high. Let's see. I'm going to move this, so I'm going to get a little bit closer and personal with you. All right. All right, so now we can see the neck a little bit better with this microphone here. Mm-hmm. Okay, so our D is here. Hopefully you can see the strings okay. So one way is my first finger right now is on string 3.
Yeah,
I'm going to move.
I'm with you.
When I make that shift, I'm going to shift it up from string 3 to string 4. See that shift I did?
Yep.
Now my middle finger, my naughty finger is going to go right underneath that one on string 3 where my first finger just was.
Yeah.
So
this is okay.
There it is.
Okay, so
that's the hardest shift. And then when you're done there, go back to your D. So if that feels a little too much to do, then I would suggest maybe holding your D chord. So the easier one, easier in terms of finger movements, you could do that and just take your middle finger and clamp it on top. As long as the problem is a lot of people stretch that to the 3rd box.
Yeah. No, I want to do it the way you. I'll figure it out the way you tell me because that'll be the right way. I mean, the way that you do. I want to do what you do.
Sure. So in this case, the big movement is on that switch is your first 2 fingers are leaving string 1 and string 3, and they're moving to string 3 and string 4.
So. Wait.
Here, I have my little booklet here. Let me show you where this is in the booklet here. Let's see. That's what the finger should look like.
Okay.
You see that guy right there? Let's see. I want to get my head out of the way.
Yeah. Let me get to it.
So this would actually be page 38 in the guide to playing guitar and melting faces and kicking booty and taking names.
Got it.
So page 1 through 37, we've kicked the booty, and we've taken the names, and now this is the list of all the names we've taken.
Yeah, like it. Like it.
The secrets are in page 137, and if you want those secrets. Okay, so that's the visual shape. So for those looking at home, here's our. So that's the shape we're aiming for. This is called an A sus4. That's a fancy word. You can say A sus. I don't ever go into the theory of it in the beginning because that's a quick way to have people pass out of boredom. So let's see. So first finger, second finger, third finger. So there, oops. I gotta get so those are the 2 chords we're playing. So it should be a minimum of movement.
Yeah. So what am I doing? I was moving. See, wait a minute. Let me get back. I keep switching my middle and my one, right? My first and second finger.
Yeah, your first and second finger from the D chord are just going to raise up onto the middle two strings.
Right.
So they were on string 1 and string 3, then they're going to jump up to string 4 and string 3. There it is. That sounded right. So what I recommend is when you're learning something, I always tend to learn it, especially at a beginner. I always tend to learn it in a level situation. So for you or for anybody who's learning how to play this guitar, level 1 is just get the chords down. I know you can't wait to play the song, so it's D, it's pinky D sus, and then it's going to be that A sus. Okay. So make sure you got those down. We'll get the song one soon. Excuse me. And then once you have it down, maybe the next thing to do is to just work on the switching. So maybe it's just forgetting the song. I'm going to work from this switch to this switch. And I have a way to help anybody learn something that seems difficult to them. I have a tip or a strategy that helps out.
Okay.
And that's something I call the rule of 7. The rule of 7 is this. If you can do something that's difficult, so narrow it down to just maybe it's just 2 chord changes, maybe it's a little pattern of 4 notes for a riff, whatever it is. If you can do that 7 times in a row perfectly, you've got it. It's locked in your brain.
Okay.
So if you want, you can have a little chalkboard or a race board, and I can go from the D to the A7.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 1. Chuck. Now this is something you have to do yourself. Okay. Yep. Meaning I can tell you, Jason, slow down, and you can hear me say, Jason, slow down. That little voice in your head's like, nah, man, I got this. I want this. I need this now. Yeah. And so that's totally normal. And the best way I've found to overcome that is if I change this and I say, Jason, slow down. I would say, Jason, I dare you. Now I've challenged you. Now I dare you to play this shift 7 times in a row. Right. We're going to pretend we're in the recording studio. The recording light is on. Now you've got to I want 7 perfect switches of this. Otherwise, if you, even on the 7th one, you screw up, okay, we have to erase the tape. You got to start back at 0. Right. So the reason I do that is because it changes a little part. If you challenge yourself and go, well, if Tim tells me, it breaks a little part of your mind. Now, here's what happens in the journey of that. If you're trying to switch and I say, here's the rule of 7, try it 7 times perfectly, what you're going to do is you're still going to be stuck in that old mindset of, okay, I got this. And you'll go through it like the way, and you'll screw up on number 1, number 4, whatever, and you're going to get irritated. So you go back to 1, you'll screw it up on number 6. And then finally that moment happens in your head where you go, you know what? I'm not going to get through this unless I slow down. So now you've told yourself to slow down versus me telling you to slow down. Yeah. So there's a teachable moment in your head, because here's the deal: is when you slow down, it might take you 60 seconds to get through it, 90 seconds, 2 minutes to get through that chord change, and then you've got it forever. Right. Instead of just forcing yourself to try to get it for the next 5-10 minutes and not having it. Yeah. And so you get frustrated, you get burned out, you get angry. So it is a weird thing to go. The best way to go fast is to go slow.
Go slow. Yeah, I'm with you. Grease the groove.
So you got that now.
Okay.
So there's our chords. And I'm sure if, the 2 people watching this at home probably
right.
They're like, they look on Jason's YouTube and they're like, who's this knucklehead? Nah, pass. I'll wait for some neurosurgeon next week.
Right. There you go. Perfect.
So we've got our chords, and I'm going to show you the layout of how we're going to play these chords. So we're going to go back to our D, and the way I teach the strumming is I'll play a D, and then we have have our pinky down for D sus. And then we're going to play that D sus one more time. Then we're going to remove our pinky back to the D. And then that last chord is our first two fingers moving up into that A sus position. There it is. So when I start playing it, I'm going to give you kind of the template of the 5 strums I mentioned. So we have slow, slow, fast, fast, slow, 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 fast, fast, slow.
Yep.
So it's 5 chords, or not even 5 chords. It's 3 chords and 5 strums.
Well, that sounds terrible. Did I hit all the right chords at least?
That's right. That's right. I'll set your D up again.
Why does that sound so bad?
Can you move your neck up a little bit so I can see your fingers? There you go. Okay, I think your first finger's too low. There you go. That one has to be on string 3.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
There you go. Bring those down a set of strings. There you go. Lift your pinky. Okay. So we have D, D sus again, to D, to A sus. And this is Walking on Sunshine by Katrina and the Waves.
Wow.
The unplugged version, no.
I thought it was My Sharona. I was way off.
So if you look at the chart that I have for you right here, you can kind of see the order of the chords. So you have the capo 3 on there, and then it says D, D sus, D sus, D, A sus. That's the order you play those chords. So D. So you can see you have a pair of those there, the D to D sus. That's your slow part.
Yep.
So D to D sus. Now play D sus again. That's the pinky down one.
Yeah, like, come on, get in there, Jason. There we go. Okay, so how many times I'm playing D sus? So
you'll go, let's see.
So
it goes D, D sus, D sus, D, A sus. So that's the 5 strums. And so, yep, there you're getting it right there. So we have slow, slow. I'm still on D sus. Fast, fast, slow.
Okay.
Nice.
Wait a minute. No, look, I got it.
I know you do.
I was supposed to. Did I miss something?
You missed the last chord. So let's do this one chord at a time, one strum at a time.
Okay.
So that we're on task together. So we'll go D. Pinky down is D sus. That's our first 2 chords. We have only 3 left. We're going to play D sus one more time.
Wait a minute.
And then we're going to lift.
D sus is down, right? Pinky down.
Pinky down, correct.
Okay.
And then we'll lift that pinky up and play the D again. And the final chord is those first 2 moving up into that A sus chord. There it is.
Okay.
So the way I also think about it is I have a really weird way of thinking of visually or audibly. So the way I think about it is the song is kind of like a roller coaster. So when it starts off, you're going up the roller coaster and you're up that thing and it's going slow. And then once you get past that loop, it goes fast. So here's me going up the roller coaster slowly. I'm at the top because that's the highest note. I'll play that again, but I'll remove my pinky fast because I'm going down. into that final chord, the D or the A sus.
Is that it?
There it is.
Just horrible, but it.
Oh, listen, I love watching people unpack it. Like they sit there. So okay, so now it looks like your middle finger is going higher than
and it's moving. I'm
so
having trouble keeping that guy contained.
So when we make our D, we're going to make our D to our, I'm trying to get this in the right spot here. So we make our D to our A sus. I'm going to remove my ring finger so you can see the fingers that are moving. Mm-hmm. So the first two fingers from your D are actually going to move up like so.
Why it's so hard for me? I'm really making that difficult.
Oh, there it is right there. Bingo.
See, I'm making it harder than it is. I think because having I got it. It's a mental thing for me, but I see it's like there's a string in between the fingers, then there's not a string.
Then you squeeze them. Yep.
Yeah.
So
I got that.
What I would suggest is doing that rule of 7 for that. Let's put Jason on the spot, and we're gonna see steam come out of his ears, and we're gonna see like the beads of sweat, not from Peloton.
I'm here for
not
it.
From
Let's do it.
He's just like he's gonna wheel his way through this. So we'll count together. Okay, so we're gonna do this D.
Okay.
Now we're gonna move our first two fingers into that shape. Now this is okay. That's 1. For those of you counting at home, that's 1. Just 1. That's 2. Three. Now don't get cocky now. You're doing great.
Don't worry.
That's 4. Six. You got one more. Don't blow it.
My D sounded horrible, but
so that's something that you're going to end up having to kind of regulate yourself on.
Okay.
Every strum, you're going to go, oh, that last D was horrible on the 7th one. I'm going to start it all over, and just be honest with yourself. And it's like, you might take another, like how long did that take us to go through those chords? 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal, but what you're doing is you're learning tremendously through that laser focused learning. So you notice we haven't been doing this for very long, and now you've got a song that you can play, another song in your arsenal. And it's not a hard song because the entire song is just that movement of the D. That's in the verses. She's a good girl. And it's also in the chorus. And I'm free falling. So it's the whole song. So that's another song you can play. Switch those two fingers so you're there. You go.
So right chord, fingers wrong.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to get you into the habit of playing it the same way for your. There it is.
There we go.
Ooh, yeah.
All right.
Yes, conquered King's Camp.
Love it. There we go. It's getting better. Okay. So my goal is to be able to play Free Falling for you by our next lesson. This will give me something really to crush this week. I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the nice thing about it is when you hear that song, you don't, like these songs I'm giving you here, you don't realize how limited they are with just a couple of chords. You don't sit there and go, well, that's kind of boring. You love that song. Who doesn't love Free Fallin'?
Right.
And so the way they make that sound so great is through what we know as dynamics. And so dynamics is just the loud and soft of music. So when he starts off, it's very quiet and gentle, just the guitar, and then the band comes in, and then the bands. So they'll change up their strums, or they'll do big strums in the chorus, and maybe they'll do quiet ones in the verse. They might change it up during that little. There's like a little instrumental in there where they just repeat those chords.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, just because you have these 5 chords, you might play back to back and go, that doesn't sound like it. Well, there's a lot of things we're doing is we're condensing a band of bass, drums, keyboards, 2 guitars into one session where a beginner, someone can sit there and play it and have a win.
I love it. I love it.
So and I'm free.
Tom Petty's looking down going, what are you doing with my song?
Oh, he couldn't be prouder, man.
There we go. It's getting better.
Yeah. Get down with your bad self. You're so bad you should be in detention.
I will be much better whenever we meet again, my brother.
Well, you know what? Tom Petty butchered a bunch of songs when he started out. So, you're just
I love it.
You're joining the club, man. So now you've got
there we go. It's getting better.
So think about it. You've got, in this space so far, you've got 3 songs. I think we learned maybe 1 or 2 riffs.
Yeah.
So at this point, I would call you a guitarist.
So I don't know about that.
Now you got to cut yourself some slack. And once again, through mindset, you go, yeah, I am a guitarist. I play guitar.
Got it.
I'm a painter. I paint. You're a guitarist. You might not, Nashville might not call you to fill in for, John Mayer or something like that, but you're a guitarist and you're a beginning guitarist, you're a budding guitarist. So walk around with a little swagger this week going, dude, I can play a little free falling. What do you want?
Are you saying, Tim, it's like being chained to a boulder and instead of just being a stone chiseler, actually thinking yourself a sculptor? That might make a good book.
That's a great transition.
Man, you're the best guitar teacher ever.
If only someone would write that book so that I can get it in my heart, in my head, and I can grow and learn and love as a new human who's conquering the earth one person at a time through love and through charity and through awesomeness and through face melting and kicking down doors and rocking.
I made a mental note. I'm with you. I've got an idea.
Okay. Somebody.
Somebody. All right. So I know somebody who knows somebody.
Nice. That's how you get things done. Friend of a friend.
All right. So I'm feeling better. So
like an accident.
What else we need to do, dude? Just learn this.
Well, to me, this is the potatoes, the sweet potatoes, and the broccoli and the chicken. This is the nutritional stuff. So you're learning chords, fancy new chords like suspended chords, and switching in time.
Yeah.
So you're learning those things, and you're learning it through a song that you know and you love and you enjoy, and others do. So go throughout your day, and what I would suggest is when you got a moment, just pick it up.
Yeah.
What I always suggest is folks to set it on a stand. A lot of folks want, I don't want to get it scratched. I'm going to put it back in the case, put it under the bed in the closet. Well, you're not going to touch it. So what I do is I hang them on my wall. I put them on the floor. Unless, I hang them on the wall. Let's say you got kids or you got dogs, you don't want to knock it over. So make it out there. And then when you're walking around, you're going through your day, you have lunch and you go, before I dig in, let me just try that chord section again. And then spend a minute, 2 minutes, 4 minutes on it, put it back down, go take your business call. And then when you're done, before you go to bed, before I go to bed, I'm just going to try that one more time. And so just take these little tiny moments during the day where you're not sitting there. It's not like we think about even like exercise, like you've got to get your heart rate up. That might take 5-10 minutes. And then you've got to get to a certain BPM or something like that. Right. This is something where you can learn quickly. And the more times you do it, the faster you're going to grow. Right. So you don't need to schedule out 45 minutes every night to just sweat through it like you're Shaq on the foul lines. I can't do this, So just take little times. I always say go slow, take breaks, have fun. Those are my 3 mottos. And if you can do that, you're going to be successful.
Awesome, brother. Well, I think this is a good lesson. So I will get this whenever we shut this down. I will post it so that people can go back and watch it and anybody, and what I'm going to do too, I'm going to show people, because I did like a little warm up on Instagram of my
Okay.
horrible warming up. Now I'm going to see if people, I'm going to get to where I can do the chords decent enough and see if they can guess the song. So be looking for that. So
absolutely, that's fantastic because that's fun for them too, and that just sparks engagement for you.
Yeah,
if you give them a little mystery, like what song is this, and then you'll have people, chime in.
Yeah,
so that's fun. That's all about community and enjoying and including them. So that's fantastic.
All right, my brother. Well, cool. Another lesson in the can. I feel like I'm getting better. And then we're going to do, just so people know, Tim and I talked about it before. We're going to do like maybe a Saturday live or something like that. Be looking on my Instagram, his Instagram, Facebook. We'll give plenty of notice. So if anybody wants to bring your guitar, join in. And if you know you're going to come, what I'll do, Tim, and if you have any of your students that you want to do this with, we'll figure out a way. I've got room for like 4 people to join us right here on Ecamm, so we can do a little group session, whatever. We're just figuring this out as we go, and I'm getting to learn the guitar along the way. So thank you, brother.
Hey, it's my pleasure. This is why I get up in the morning, is because I just want to encourage people to have a good time. Life's shorter than you think, man. Enjoy it.
Isn't that the truth?
Provide your own soundtrack, right?
I love it. I love it. All right, man. Well, I'm going to stop our recorded lesson here and tell you goodbye offline.